Peace, Queen Yin here, and I come to talk to you about 5 things that has been impactful on what I'm calling in this video my awakening journey. So here goes 5 things that really have been impactful on my journey. Let's jump right into it. First and foremost, I want to clarify what I'm calling the awakening journey for me. The first time I began to question whether I was clear about spirituality or my relationship with God or God in itself was probably in grad school. So that was like 2005. Let's just say like 2005. Um, I had a teacher, Dr. Asa Hilliard III, who was also ancient African history historian. And so in some of his classes, I would get exposed to some of his teachings about ancient African history. Now, this was intriguing to me because I had been exposed to so much information about the lack of success of our community, of our people, the lack of success, how we are, all of these different things that's going wrong and going bad. Admittedly, this was a lot of what I was being inundated with, especially in education. My field was education. And so a lot of talk was about the achievement gaps and, you're just around a lot of talk about how to help the children, how to help. It was always something about how do we get better? How do we experience better? So I was exposed to a lot of the problems of the world, the problems of society, the problems of my people. That was a lot. So when I started to get exposed to ancient African history and started hearing about the success of what's deemed to be our ancestors and all of that, I was like, shoot, well, whatever they had going on, all we gotta do is repeat that. That's really what was my mindset. Like, okay, well, what was that? And so I was introduced to certain things by Dr. Hilliard, but I also came across other teachers who would talk about who extracted certain principles from history, where we found levels of success or growth or evolution and was teaching those principles. And so I was learning those things, applying those things, and seeing some great benefits. That's when I first was exposed to the Kemetic diet, so how to be more healthy. I was exposed to um, uh, the Ma'at principles. I was exposed to the Kwanzaa principles, different things like that. And so that was helpful. But I started to ask a question because I'm like, okay, when I think about religion or spirituality, where I was raised or how I was raised was in the church, Christianity. And I would see so much despair in the church. I really didn't see a model of anything that I really wanted to kind of like end up like, you know, I didn't necessarily see models of success, models of happiness, models of healthy relationships. I didn't necessarily see them. I'm just being honest. And it's maybe because I didn't have the eyes to see them or I just didn't have the examples, but I didn't see them. And so I started to wonder. I asked myself a question. What did our ancestors do when it came to spirituality? And that was really the spark of what I'm calling my awakening journey. And with that spark, I began to study different spiritual systems, different religions. I began to really ask questions to those who I was seeing around me. If I was to meet a Muslim or somebody in Fa, or I met this professor who was from Haiti and she did some lectures on Vodun. Like I was open to explore anything. Like I was just open. Cause I'm like, if you can attest to, and then and it wasn't just anybody. It was people who I could look at their life, I could look at their lights, and I could see something. One of the first people being Dr. Asa Hilliard. He had this light about him and this love energy about him, and people loved him. And he was just, I was like, I wonder what he does. I always wondered that. Like, is he Christian? Is he Muslim? Is he Kemetic? Like, what is it that he's doing? And so nonetheless, let's get into the 5 things that I can extract from my journey that was helpful. As I went into this, what I'm calling awakening journey, one of the first thing I found that's super impactful was speaking to people who look like they have come to a certain level that I'm aspiring, right? That was very helpful. And so just at being open to ask them questions, that was very helpful. I began to get privy to books and lectures and professors and and other people and all of these different things that was so helpful. A sister of mine, she introduced me to Abraham Hicks around that time, so around 2006 or 7. I was introduced to the movie The Secret years when my son was like 8. I just remember him being 8 around that time. I was, and he's 19 now, so I was introduced to Professor James Small and a lot of his lectures on that discusses being a spiritual being having a human experience. I had never heard it like that. You're a spiritual being having a human experience, And as I'm exposed to these people, I was exposed to Professor Baina Bello um, more and more people, and Dr. Jewel Pookrum and Queen of Fool. I mean, I could just go on and name so many different people. And so I started to learn so much, not just about spirituality, but just about healing modalities and about my body and, about, the matrix and all of these different things are like, dang, I'm really living this life from an ignorant standpoint and suffering because of it. And I didn't go too hard on myself. I just was like, all right, let's go. I'm gonna lean into all of this information and take what's resonant to me and really give over to it and really try it out. So that's one thing, is like just being open to speak to people, reach out to people, purchase books from people or from, certain authors or whatnot that seem like they've come to a level of understanding in life that, you know, could be beneficial to you. The next thing is having a teacher, having a teacher. That's so important. That's so beneficial. That's so helpful. I do believe, truly believe that when a student is ready, the teacher appears. And that's truly my testimony. Once I was ready to really learn and elevate, a teacher showed up in my life. It has been in my life since and still is. And just being under their tutelage in a certain kind of way changed my whole life and perspective. Gratefully, they're they are ones they are familiar or know the Quran, the Bible, metaphysics, numerology, a lot of the different things that I was studying in a fragmented way, sitting with them, just vibing. And it's not like this formal thing. Like, don't expect always for your teacher to show up in a super formal way. Like, don't expect that. And your teacher may shift in phases. You may get other teachers, throughout your journey. Um, but stay open and aware so you can know when they show up and you can surrender to it. Which is not always easy because we're not taught how to be students, really. We're not. And we think we know something. We know, especially when you think you know something and you got a whole idea of what you need to know and how you need to find out and what's your learning style and all of this type of stuff. Nah, that ain't really how life works. Spirit or send you a teacher, and you will have to learn how to be open to that teacher. You will have to be and you have to be adamant with yourself about allowing yourself to learn. So the reason why I say having a teacher is so, especially now, is so important is because, there are a quadrillion podcasts. You can find anything online. It's so many people with a mic. It's so many platforms. It's just so much information out there that if you ignore your inner guidance, bringing you to your teacher, you could get caught up in the intellectual world and really miss the mark a lot. And you could find yourself on roads where you're in like almost like a long-term lesson, you know, because you're just kind of going with the whim of what feels resonant. And listen, all the information that we can acquire in the world is all one source of knowledge. And so much can resonate with you. That's why I always say it's important to tune into yourself so that you can know what's really for you. And you can know about what impact it's having on your life. Is it changing your life in a good way, or is it Are you becoming sad? Sometimes I see people connect with information that seem resonant to them, and they go down a road of self-destruction almost. Believe it or not, like they start feeling guilty and start self-sabotaging and start to sign on to things that's not bringing them peace, power, and joy. It goes into condemnation. It's feeding on their condemnation, on the feeling of self-condemnation. It feeds on that. And that's what I see a lot when it comes to people delving into different uh, knowledge banks when it comes to spirituality or religion and different things like that, or metaphysical practices and things. It's like very transactional based. They could go into really focusing on transaction, meaning I'm doing these things just to get. It's not really to grow, it's to get. Or, if they already come feeling guilty, like I need to get myself together, then they could run into something that exasperates that feeling of guilt and could always be on this forever journey of trying to be sinless or trying to clean themselves up. And I see this a lot, but so having a teacher that you have that has been brought into your life, and again, you can know this by the impact it's having on your life, right? Are you experiencing more peace, power, joy? Are you experiencing more understanding, more wisdom? Like, are you experiencing those things? The next thing that I would say was very helpful was me learning metaphysics. The teacher that came into my life was one that, and when I say he taught metaphysics, I mean, again, it was never like formal. He's sitting down to teach. We were just building, you know what I'm saying? And as he shared whatever we were building on, he was doing it from a metaphysical perspective. And it was beautiful for me because he would come from the Bible, he would come from Quran, he would add in other things, again, numerology would show up, astrology would show up, um, um, medicine would like the world of medicine and healing would show up in the conversations and in the bills. So it was very rich, but much of it was helping me to understand a lot of these things from a metaphysical standpoint. And I began to really realize that life is really metaphysical. Like life is really metaphysical. What we see on the surface, there's way more meaning to it. You know what I mean? Not meaning, but there's way more insight. Like there's so much more you can see if you know how to see, if you're able to see, if you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear and the knowledge to read and understand it. And so learning from the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, learning from people like Louise Hay when it comes to metaphysics of dis-ease, learning from totems, when it comes to the metaphysical meaning of animals and insects, the metaphysical meaning of herbs and, how they show up in this world and what they connect with. Everything has a connection. Everything has this metaphysical connection. And that was very helpful for me to learn and understand and still continuing to grow in that. I could interpret dreams, I can interpret circumstances, situation, I can interpret so much more about life. Life became way more insightful. And so it became very much so my focus to just grow in my awareness, elevate my levels of consciousness and just be open and obedient. That became like all I was about, and still is, because life really is just piecing itself together. You just got to be able to see and read and pay attention. You know what I mean? And oftentimes we're not doing that because we're so caught up in this world and we're caught up in our immediate judgment of this world that oftentimes is connected to something from the physical. So you really are not seeing what really is happening in front of you, right in front of you, and what's really being shown to you, from the smallest little situations to the biggest situations. So, learning metaphysics, also expanding my knowledge on healing modalities, because it became very essential for me to open my heart, heal the heart, let go of past experiences. It's like when it's talked about in the Bible, take off your shoes. It's that whole thing of like, look, let the dead bury the dead, take off your shoes. Like all of them references is talking about a level of surrender. And so learning about various healing modalities helped me to be able to open up my heart, helped me to be able to get my heart chakra going, and clear out the other chakras. So learning about Reiki, energy clearings, breath work, meditation, contemplation meditation, mindful meditation, um, healing modalities like Those are some of my favorite that clearly just came right off the top of my head. Those ones I was really like resonant with using crystals, working with the moon cycle, like all of those things helped me tremendously in lightening the heart. And I knew I had to do that. By the way, early in my journey, I really gravitated to the principles of my aunt. And when you look up my aunt, it has this depiction where she's holding a scale, and one side has a feather and one side has a heart. And it's saying that in order for you to reach heaven, reach this higher state of consciousness, reach this higher level of living, you must have a heart that's light as a feather. I began to truly understand what that meant and how that showed up in so many other spiritual texts and teachings about the heart, and get into a space of love, divine love, not this Philly love that, but divine love where you're able to really let go of life and accept and allow things to be as they are and really trust that there's this divine thing going on and getting in the flow of it. You can only really get into it when you surrender, so you're able to really start to understand it and you're able to get into it and flow. But anyway, so learning about expanding my knowledge on various healing modalities really helped, because I was able to realize, okay, I need to work on my heart chakra. I can go to a Reiki practitioner and say, if they ask, which gratefully I ran into 2 practitioners that a part of their services is to ask, is there any specific thing you want to focus on? And I will always bring up, amongst maybe other things, I want to continue to open my heart chakra. And so they would do that Reiki work or the massage work. Um, the Reiki work, massage. I said massage because I had a massage therapist or a touch therapist that also did Reiki and was also an oracle. So like God is so good because she was very impactful on my journey. I thought I was going to her just for massage because I heard about her massage or touch therapy that was powerful. I heard it was like she was just amazing. I'm thinking I'm going for that, but I began to realize, she's also a Reiki practitioner and an oracle. She was helping me a lot throughout my journey. Shout out to she know who I'm talking about if she hears this. I won't call any names, but shout out to her. And then I ran into another Reiki practitioner, my sister. She's the one who I got my Reiki certification under. She has been so impactful over the years. She is also an oracle, so just learning about these things. And the reason why expanding the knowledge is so helpful is because you open yourself up to, so you can, experience the benefits of it. When you're not knowledgeable, oftentimes the first reaction is fear or inhibitions. And so once I became knowledgeable, I didn't just try just anything. I definitely wanted to know what I'm doing, you know what I mean, what I'm getting into. And so learning about those different things was very helpful. Lastly, I have on my notes going all in. So, what I mean by that is once I started getting like a divine nudging to explore something or divine inspiration to explore something, I went in with no fear, no inhibitions, what going all in, all the way in. What do I need to learn? I want to apply. I'm looking to learn. I'm looking to apply. I'm looking to totally surrender to it, whatever that was, whether it's studying Ifa, studying Islam, studying gemstones, studying chakras, whatever it was, I went all the way into it. I remember when I studied the chakras, I went all the way into it. I said, I'm gonna focus on one chakra for I think a week, and I'm just gonna do all of the chakras. I will wear the color of the chakra. Those are the clothes I wear. I would buy some flowers, put that color all around the house. I would drink the drinks, eat the foods that was that was, you know, that was good for that chakra opening. I would do some journaling around that chakra. I really went all into it. And I think going all into it, giving over to it, as I would say sometimes, you really are able to experience it. Like it really, you become one with whatever that is. It moves from just intellect to understanding because of experience. You start experiencing certain things that you can't read in the book. You can't really get a full experience from reading in a book. The book can inspire certain things and influence certain things, But I think until you really explore it, you can't just read about a spiritual system, a religion, a gemstone, or whatever, and then experience it. No, you got to really work with it. And you have to learn how to work with it. And maybe ask questions, ask people, and read books or whatever, but then you have to apply it. So going all in is really like totally applying it and totally surrendering to it, really just going all in. I don't know how else to say it. Go all the way in. So oftentimes that look like for me nowadays, if there's something on my mind, like destiny has been on my mind a little bit recently. Also, currency has been on my mind. So I'm probably going to be reading a book. I'm probably going to be looking in scripture regarding it. I'll probably the name of God that I'll be working with for this week probably be around that. My affirmations will probably be around it. All of those, like I'm really gonna focus my attention, focus my energy, focus my intentions around that, which I'm finding to be a hunch or inspiration to me right now. And I check in with myself ever so often, and I also check in every day, really, but sometimes deep, I do a deep dive, every so often. But every day I'm checking in, every morning I'm checking in, just checking in to see if there's any concerns, any questions, any inspirations, any things that's coming to my mind. Was there something in my dream? Was there something? And I'm checking in and focusing my energy, giving my energy towards it, giving my attention towards it. So nonetheless, this has been 5 things that has been impactful on my journey. I hope it was helpful to you. I don't know, maybe you learned something. Maybe it sparks a question in your mind. If you have a question, I would love for you to put that question down in the comments below so that I can answer them. That's fun, for me to do follow-up videos. I like stuff like that. Also, if there's anything else you would love to hear me speak about, you can put that in the comment section as well. I am aspiring to do more of these type of videos. And I certainly will do them when I'm inspired to do. I aspire to do them and I will do them when I'm inspired to do. Right now the inspiration is flowing, and so I'd love to share even more about my journey. I'd love to share some of the climax parts of my journey because there have been some wonderful climax parts, testimonies when it comes to, the healing of the relationship with my mother, the healing of the relationship with my sister, um, just relationships in general. I just think about the relationship with my son's father, whom I was married to, and how that evolved because of God, and my understanding of God. Um, my relationship with money, how that has changed over the years. Key climax times where I can consciously remember like how it changed, how it shifted. Um, in business, in success, levels of success I've been able to achieve just by walking a walk of divine being and staying steadfast in that mindset, like I'm a divine being, and how sometimes that's difficult because we are in the matrix, Sometimes you can get caught up in the matrix. So just sharing, I would love to just share. I've been inspired to share more of my journey. Sometimes I share these things. A lot of times I share these things during my Sunday fellowship and meditation, fellowship message and meditation sessions. But I just think, any opportunity that I can get to share whatever I can to be of assistance. And why do I think this is impactful? Well, we're on the same journey. Everybody is on the journey of your divine path, your divine purpose. You may be in a stage where you're not clear about what that is, or you don't trust it, or you are in some struggle part, or you may be at a peak. I don't know, but we're all on the same journey. We just walking each other home. And I can testify to a level of peace that I found, people around me who's known me for years, like my son, you know, um, my life partner, my father, my sister, they can attest. They've known me. They know, they've seen it, they experience it. My members, many of them have been with me since the beginning of OU Ministries, the foundation of OU Ministries. And have been privy to the journey. Like there's levels of success, peace, abundance, understanding, knowledge, all these things I've been able to found. And I am so grateful. I really am that I've been able to experience a surrender before the ultimate surrender that we all will experience when we transition. I've been able to experience a level of dying before dying that is powerful because once you experience that, you can truly live. It's like until the seed fall to the ground and die, you know, it can't really bear the fruit. And that's our journey until we're able to really surrender and just totally come outside of all of these constructs, control, trauma, drama, even desires and yearnings and wantings and seekings and all these stuff, until we able to fully come out of that and surrender and get to a place of just total emptiness and stillness, we really won't be able to bear the true fruit of our destiny, our divine destiny. And so I've been able to experience certain things I'm extremely grateful for, and I love to be able to share. And so I am creating the opportunity for me to be able to share through these little videos, or not so little, 25 minutes. By the time I finish 26, 27 minutes, we're going to try to make them shorter. But if you know me, you know I ain't pressed. So I'm going to just go with the flow. But anyway, I hope this was helpful. Again, leave your comments, questions, expressions below. I love them. I welcome them. And stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you can get updates on when I post. And if this was resonant to you and you want to share it with somebody else, feel free to do so. Go ahead and take that link and share it to someone who you think will resonate with the information that has been shared. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next go round.